Right, we're now live. We're testing the YouTube that an audio feed goes out. So Tom, could you give us just a test?
Yes, Danny, I'd be happy to talk to you.
Right, and Alan, you.
Good to go. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regulatory section of the Planning and Regulatory Services Committee. Audio recording is being used to assist in preparing the formal minutes. Therefore, anyone participating in the meeting consents to it being recorded and being live streamed on YouTube. Agenda item 1 is apologies. I have 2 apologies at the moment. Is Councillor McGeown maybe or even late to the Zoom, and Councillor Wilson, who will be hoping to get on at around 4 o'clock. Is there any from other members there? Any apologies indicating? Agenda item 2 is declaration of interest. We can take them as the meeting progresses. And we can start off with agenda item 3, report from Head of Planning. It's an item for information. Hand over to Damien Mulligan to give some update on the planning caseloads.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, members. Members, the report before you gives you an update on planning caseloads. You will see this month, the month of November rather, we issued 127 planning decisions, received 107 applications, which means our current live caseload stands at 682, which you'll be interested to hear is the first time I suppose we've ever been below the 700 threshold. So we're actually down, members, 300 applications where we were at the beginning of the business year. Now, there was some talk previously about whether or not there was a downward trend. We're continuing to watch that. What I would say is, for the first time this business year, we actually received more than 100 applications in a month. So that would suggest maybe that we've turned the corner, but we'll continue to watch that and keep members posted on that as we go forward. One other figure for you is the number of call-ins during the month of November, and that was 1, bringing the total to 22 year to date. Thank you, Chair. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Damien. Alderman Wilson, your hand is raised.
Yeah, thanks. It's just really just to put on record, thanks to the team there for, since planning committee started, I think it was a pipe dream to get under the 700. It was always hovering in around 900 to 1,000 at times. So really good work. Thanks to all the team for their efforts around that. And it's nice, that for, I suppose, for officers, planning officers themselves, that they see, their stack is getting a bit lower and they're not just as, deluged as perhaps they were over the years. So well done to them.
Thank you, Alderman Wilson. I think we can concur that the work being done by the planners is exemplary, and it's good to see that the work is being done, but also planning applications are still coming in. And now that we're below that 700 mark, we can now put a bit of pressure off the planners in relation to that. Moving on to agenda item 4, report from Head of Building Control. First one, 4.1, is an item for decision. Street naming report for Church Bray Mews. I'll hand over to Tom Lavery, Head of Building Control, to present this report. You talk.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, members. Yes, this is a request for the naming of a housing development consisting of 7 dwellings of Church Bray, Ardmore Road and Darriad. Details are in Appendix 1. The applicant's preferred name for this development is Church Bray Mews. And the applicant's main reason for the preferred name is that the postal numbers have already been allocated to the existing Church Bray, and this new area would be identified with a separate name. The site is an extension of the existing Church Bray, and there's access through this development, so they feel the name should reflect this link. Recommendation, therefore, is for members' approval of the name Church Bray Mews. Take any questions, Chair.
Thank you, Tom. Members, any questions in relation to that agenda? Councillor Savage.
Chair, just happy to propose.
Thank you, Councillor Savage, and Councillor O'Dowd.
See the split screen, it's doing my head in, but I'm happy to second.
Councillor O'Dowd, members, if you could turn your cameras on, just when it comes to the agreement, the proposal from Councillor Savage and seconded by Councillor O'Dowd, is everyone in agreement there with that? Agree. Thank you, members. Agenda item 4.2 is street naming report for Terry Woodhill, and hand over to Tom again to present this.
Thank you, Chair. This is a request for the naming of a housing development consisting of 9 dwellings, Harry Wood, Cornkinniga Road in Lurgan, and maps, etc. in Appendix 2. The applicant's preferred name for this development is Tarry Wood Hill. The applicant's main reason for this name is that the ground rises continuously and is of the existing development called Tarry Wood. Therefore, they believe the most appropriate option is option 1, Tarry Wood Hill. Recommendation, therefore, is for members' approval of this name. I will take any questions, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Vice Chair, you can comment on the.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, name seems to make sense with me, and it's Terry Wood there, and it was a bit heavy in that section, so happy to propose the recommendation there, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And Councillor Dowd, your hand still up.
Yes, I'm happy to second that.
Members on agreement, just nod your head.
Aye.
Yeah, thank you, members. Heading on to agenda item 4.3, it's an information item, LPS New Dwelling Statistics Report, and again hand over to Tom to present this.
Thank you, Chair. This report is to keep members informed of the latest new dwelling statistics produced by Department of Finance, Land and Property Services, better known as LPS. The current statistics reference were published on the 20th of November past. LPS received regular information from building control departments across all 11 councils. And the information contains the number of recorded new dwellings that have started and those completed by building control. And a full report on all statistics can be viewed online at the website noted in the report. Notably, Appendix 3 shows an extract of Table 1.3, which is new dwelling starts for each council. And members will note that ABC Council has consistently been in the top 4 performing councils since 2015, with our council being the highest performing council in Q3 of 2024 and the second highest performing council in both Q1 and Q2 of this year. Appendix 3 also notably that is an extract of Table 2.3, which is for new dwelling completions, which also equates to additional rates. Members will note that our council has consistently been in the top 3 performing councils since 2015. Again, notably in 2024, our council has been the highest performing council in Q1 and was the second highest performing council in both Q2 and Q3. This is for members' information, Chair, but I'm happy to take any questions from members.
Thank you, Tom. Alderman Wilson, your hand is up.
Yeah, again, just I suppose in line with what was said about the planners, building control, a consistently good performer, even right through COVID. I remember the team was flat out because we had such a raft of extensions and people doing a lot of projects at home and building control. I know we're very busy through that whole period. So again, the performance has not abated in any way. So congratulations to Tom and his team for processing such a high level of applications in speedy time. And as we know, that directly contributes to our economy in ABC. And we're in competition with 10 other council areas for investment. So it's a good story. So thanks, Tom and his team.
Yeah. Thank you, Alderman Wilson. Hand over to the Vice Chair, Mr. Laverne.
Thank you, Chair, and I agree with Alderman Wilson there. You just have to look at the statistics. People obviously see ABC Council as the place where they want to come and live and come and work. So it's good news going forward. Tom mentioned on the increased rates income and so on that will come from that. The support that this increased residential development will give to local businesses. So ABC is definitely open for business and open for people to come and experience a high quality residential accommodation with top quality living environment there. So it is a really good news story, and that should be what's coming out out of this meeting. That people should definitely have an eye on ABC as maybe their next move.
Most definitely concur with that. It's always nice to get a good news report coming through from both the planning team and building control team. So it's much appreciated, and it does reflect the hard work that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't recognise or see. So pass on our thanks to both plan and building control for that. I have no other indicators there, members. So agenda item 4.4. update on building control and property certificate application workloads, and hand over to Tom again.
Thank you, Chair. This is just to keep members informed of some of the workload being undertaken by the department over the first 8 months of this financial year. As noted in Appendix 4, during these 8 months, we received 1,933 building regulation applications, with a notional and construction investment value of just under 131 million, which is very similar to the same time period of last year. We've also carried out just over 10,441 site inspections, and undertaken 1,309 plan assessments, and issued a total of 1,789 statutory notices. The department also continues to deliver the property certificate function for the conveyancing of properties across the borough. And again, in the last 8 months, we received 2,566 new applications, and have issued 2,567 certificates to solicitors and agents relating to property sales in the year. Nature, this is for members' information, but I'm happy to take any questions from members.
Thank you, Tom, for the report. Members, any questions on that? I have nobody indicating. Yep, thank you, Tom. Agenda item 5 is correspondence. I have none. We'll move on to agenda item 6, which is confidential. Can I seek a proposer and seconder to move the meeting into committee?
Proposed, Chair.
Proposed by Councillor Savage and seconded by Councillor O'Dowd. Seeing your hand waving, yeah, thank you, Councillor O'Dowd. Can I just check if we're in committee? Oh, sorry. Members and online viewers, in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into a confidential session of council. This means that we turn off the public feed of the meeting. This will be returned when the meeting is restarted. Can I ask ICT officers to please turn off the live feed and confirm with me when the confidential section of this meeting can proceed? Thank you.
Can we leave Zoom and then rejoin, or what's the?
Live.
We were live. Okay.
Okay, members, we are live and welcome to the planning section of the Regulatory Services Committee. May I please remind members just to try your cameras on, because when it comes to decisions, it would be a lot easier for me to see if there's consensus within members. So audio recording is being used to assist in preparing the formal minutes. Therefore, anyone participating in the meeting says to it being recorded and being live streamed on YouTube. Also, during the course of this meeting, questions may be asked councillors who are members of the Planning and Regulatory Services Committee, of planning officers, applicants, or planning permission objectors, or those speaking on their behalf. In doing so, councillors endeavour to ascertain the information which they feel is necessary to enable them to determine the application. However, members of the public should note that councillors will not reach a conclusion as to whether an application should be approved, refused, or deferred until the debate on the application has concluded. Members, as we move into agenda item 7, we have 4 items for decision. Appendix 3 has been pulled. Officers are seeking additional information on that. So that's Appendix 3 has been pulled, just for your information. We'll move on. We'll start off with Appendix 2. That's application number LA08 2023 1574F, and it is for approval. I'm going to hand over to Roisin Hamill, the Principal Planning Officer, to present report and the PowerPoint presentation. Roisin, if you can come in.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, members. This application seeks planning permission for the provision of a pond and associated site works on lands immediately west and south of number 169B Plantation Road, the slopes Portadown. The application is being presented to committee as more than 4 objections from 4 separate postal addresses have been received. And could I just draw members' attention to 2 addendum reports which have been circulated in relation to this application. The first was circulated to clarify the wording of 2 of the conditions, and the second was to address matters that were received in a late objection which we received this morning. This application initially sought planning permission for 3 culinary glamping pods, off-stream pond and all associated site works. However, the application has been amended during processing and the glamping pods element of the proposal are no longer proposed. The site lies within the rural area and comprises of a low-lying corner of an agricultural field. The proposed pond will not be connected to a stream but rather will fill with groundwater naturally. The application site forms part of an existing agricultural holding and is intended to enhance the biodiversity value of the land by acting as a habitat for wildlife. The proposed pond will be ancillary to the primary wider agricultural use of the land and is therefore considered to be acceptable in principle. A biodiversity checklist and preliminary ecological assessment were submitted in support of the application, and Natural Environment Division have assessed the content and considered that the proposed development is unlikely to significantly impact protected or priority species or habitats. They also advise that the information provided confirms the presence of newts on site and have requested that a condition be attached to ensure the protection of the newts and their place of refuge. Officers have recommended that condition 2 be attached in this regard. The proposal is to construct a pond on this piece of land which season dependent fills with water. The fact that the area in which the pond is proposed is shown as being an area subject to surface water flooding supports the assertion that the area is frequently waterlogged and when excavated the pond will create naturally. The proposed pond is being created for biodiversity value and not for the purposes of tourism or commercial venture, and the existing laneway to these lands is for land maintenance only. Given the nature of the proposal, no access is required and therefore no amendments to the existing laneway are proposed. Officers are satisfied that the proposed development complies with the SPPS and all other relevant planning policies and are recommending that the application be approved subject to the conditions set out in the report. And you'll note from the report there were a number of objections received and these have been addressed in the planning report. So I'll just take you through the slides. And the red arrow just gives you an indication of where we are, just to the south of Crowhill Road there, off Plantation Road, between Plantation Road and the slopes, Portadown. This is the red line of the application site. Now you can see the red line does extend to the road. There is an existing access laneway which serves number 56 and 56A. Once it goes beyond those properties, it turns into an agricultural lane to access these lands, which is used for land maintenance at the minute. And that's the red line of the application site, and you can see that existing laneway just shown there in red a bit more clearly. So this is the existing site layout. It basically is an agricultural field at the minute. It's set in grass, and those mature boundaries that you see to the north and the southeast, they're all to be retained as part of this proposal. And this is the proposed site layout, so it gives you an indication of where the proposed pond is to be located and the additional planting that is proposed as part of this application. And that's just a cross section through the proposed pond. You'll see it's been excavated to a depth of 2.8 metres. And there's, you can see there's water levels were taken in test holes in summer 2022, which shows the existing water level there. This is a photograph taken at the access gate or the agricultural gate at the top of the laneway that is taken off the slopes, and that just the arrow points straight up towards those agricultural lands beyond that hedge. You can see in the distance is where the pond is proposed. And this is a photograph taken from within the site, so you can, on that lower corner of the field with the mature hedge to the back, that's where the pond is proposed. And again, that's just a closer up to that low-lying corner location of the proposed pond. And that, I think, finishes the presentation. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Roisin. Members, do we have any questions in relation to this planning application? Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation there, Roisin. Just to declare as well before we start, I got copied into that email that was sent by objectors last night. It was also copied into the planning, so that'll be on record anyway, Roisin, that it was sent to me. Just in terms of this laneway, did these objections stem from when the glamping pods were included in the application, and there was maybe the consideration that travel or there would be cars or vehicles using it to utilise the pods, and with this application now been changed to pond only, is that now redundant in terms of there's no expected traffic to be going up that laneway? And also as well, you know, the pond looks closer to the plantation roadside than the slopes, so why is there access required from that laneway, Roisin? Thank you, Chair.
If you're happy enough for me to come in, Chair. Yes, this application originally came in, as I said, there was 3 culinary glamping pods proposed as part of the proposal, and we did receive, I think it was 5 objections to the proposal. A lot of the objections related to the implications of having glamping pods as part of the proposal and the additional traffic that would attract. There was difficulties in terms of the policy test for the glamping pod, so that element was removed, and now it is just for the pond. There was still one objection, another objection from the same person received this morning. They are still concerned about the use of the access. However, that access, it's a private access. The applicant has served notice, the requisite notice in terms of who the other owners on the laneway. They currently use it for land maintenance purposes. This pond will not require any vehicular access. There'll be no traffic to and from it. So obviously there is still concerns. I think the concerns are that people will still want to use it, but this pond it's for biodiversity only. There's no tourism associated with it. It's not kind of any kind of commercial venture, so there is no traffic. There's no access required for it.
So, Chair, could I just come in very quickly? Just another point, Roisin, if you could clarify in terms of this laneway, and just to clarify, like in previous examples, this laneway is a private laneway, so any access is going to be a civil matter, and ultimately, if it's the objectors own it, the laneway, it'll be incumbent on the objector or the applicant to go to court if they wanted to access this for anything other than the existing rights of agricultural vehicles, would it? Is that the position? Thank you, Chair.
If you're happy enough for me, Chair, yes, that's exactly right. It is a civil matter between the parties. It is a private laneway. The applicant has the right to use it at the moment, and there'll be no real change to that.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. Call in Vice Chair Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Chair, and as well, I think I was copied into that correspondence which forwarded on to the head of planning earlier this morning. Again, I just have a query or two around the laneway, and thanks, Roisin, for providing that clarity in that initial example. I suppose there may be concerns whereby if this pond is approved as set out off the recommendation that maybe further down the road the applicant may come in for additional things around the pond. like the glamping pods or whatever it is, which may, increase the footfall to that area, would that then be treated as a separate application and then have to go through all the process? Because even just looking at it, Chair, on photograph 4, you couldn't really get any vehicles down there other than the likes of tractors and things like that. So you would have some concerns about where it could become like a touristy thing based on the information before. So just a bit of clarity on that. And I think one of the objections was about conditioning. It was mentioned that could a condition be applied, but the officer saying that conditions don't need to be applied because it's already inherent in the application regarding not an increase in access or worthwhile a consideration being considered whereby the field's not allowed to be accessed for whatever reason for electric tourism, or just some thoughts on that, just so we'll probably scope that out, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Lavery. Yes, at this moment in time, the application is purely for a pond for biodiversity value. There's, as I've said, obviously, there's no tourism related with this, so there's no additional footfall. If they were to come in at a later stage and they were to try and sort of create some kind of, I don't know, fishing lake for people to be able to use, or glamping pods or whatever, that's a separate application, and we would have to look at access to the site under that application. At this moment in time, it's purely for the biodiversity. It's ancillary to the main use of the agricultural land. No access is required. In terms of adding a condition, I suppose it comes back to, at this moment in time, the applicant has the right to use that laneway for land maintenance purposes. There's no change to that. Any conditions, as you know, they're subject to legal tests, and we feel to add a condition at this stage to restrict use of this access when it isn't really even required for this proposal would be unreasonable and could be subject to appeal. So we have considered whether a condition would be appropriate, and we don't think it would be reasonable at this stage.
Good. Yeah. Thanks, Roisin. Appreciate that response. I suppose it's one where if this does go ahead and then sort of extracurricular activity is taking place on site, then it will become a matter for plan enforcement, I suppose, and the developer or the applicant would then face, those, potential financial prosecution and so on for along those lines. Just meant to say, obviously, this application might, meet the merit test, but it could be this pond could be used then as a feature in future applications. But it still have a lot of concerns regarding access and so on. So although this application may be fine, not necessarily saying that glamping pods or anything future will be fine. I think we'll have a lot of concerns regarding them, and potentially rightly so from some of them objective thus far. But that's just my initial questions there, Chair.
Councillor Flaherty. Councillor Flaherty, your light's on or your hands up?
Yeah, it is. But my sound is absolutely dreadful here. I don't know whether it's just me or what. So I hope you can get. I just wonder. So some of my questions that I've written down actually have been somewhat answered, Roisin. So thank you. I just wanted to be really clear, and as I say, some of it has been answered. Because I do know this site anyhow, but you're being very clear, and I just want to be very clear that this is purely and simply, and maybe I'm just reinforcing this and maybe repeating, so apologies if I am. It is purely for diversity, because I think you did allude to it, that this site actually floods anyway. So that's nearly to control it out. Some of you might know I'm a bit of a gardener diversity person, so I do sort of get this end of it. So that in itself will solve that issue of flooding on that ground. You're being very clear here, and as were the papers, that the tourism aspect of it, which was an original plan, is now no longer on the so we can take that out of the equation, given both Councillor Savage's questions and Councillor Lavery's questions. So there's clearly no commercial aspect to this venture. This is nature, and it's sort of people intervening, let's say, to improve that. So this is solving an issue in one way, would you say? You've already cleared up my other question, actually. So thank you, Councillor Savage, which was in regards to this. What I would have thought in my head was a civil matter with the laneway if this proceeds. So am I just clear in my head that this is purely? I also notice on the plans, although they're not coming up on my screen at the minute, the part to the right-hand side of it is for woodland clusters. So there's going to be an additional diversity project involved with this ground, and this is part of it. Am I correct in that assumption? I don't want to assume, should never use the word assume, but am I correct in that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Yes, the land to the east is subject to a Woodland Trust afforestation scheme, so it is going to be planted out.
It's all part, yeah.
Yep, and yes, the land at this moment in time, that portion of the field is subject, it's shown as an area that is subject to surface water flooding. So at certain times of the year, it's very wet and waterlogged anyway. So they'll dig it out, and it will help, obviously, with the drainage aspects of it. To the rear of their existing property, they have a small pond already, which is heavily used by newts. The creation of this pond will create an optimal habitat for newts and other biodiversity. So yes, at this moment in time, this application is purely for biodiversity purposes.
Yeah, and that's what we consider now.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So again, sorry for silly questions, but if it's in my head, it has to come out. Okay, thank you, Roisin.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Councillor Dowd, your hand was up. Are you content? You're content. Okay, members, we'll move on to debate stage. I have no other hands up there. So debate stage, members, any comments on this application, anything like that? Councillor Savage, please.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'd just like to thank Roisin for clearing matters up regarding the laneway. I am familiar with the area. Whilst it's not my DEA, it's only about 2 miles from the house, and I have had cause to be up that laneway on occasion, and it is certainly not suitable for any other vehicles other than tractors, maybe. But I want to thank her for her clarity around it, that the access to it continues just for agricultural purposes as is already, and going forward, if there's any more applications, as Councillor Lavery stated, we can consider any conditions or restrictions at that stage should anything want to change with the current status of the lane. But based on what you've said, on the assurance that we've given in relation to the circumstances, I think it's cleared up the issues in my mind, and I fully understand why the approval has been granted. So just my thoughts on it, Chair, and just wait to see what others have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. I have no other members' hands up on that. Members, I have a recommendation on the table from the planners for approval. Is there any proposals members would like to throw out there? Councillor Flaherty.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm actually at the right stage here, but I have to agree with Councillor Savage. The report was very good, and I'm very thankful we have such good staff that are keeping me, particularly people like me, right. I don't know what stage we're at, but I'm more than happy to go with the officer's recommendation on this. But I think I've maybe jumped the gun a wee bit, so just apologies, but I'm more than happy to propose.
No, your timing's impeccable, Councillor Flaherty. We're at that stage, so we just need a second there. Anybody looking well the second? I see Councillor Dowd. Do you mind come off or take off mute? Second.
Yes, I'm happy enough to second it. So as long as it is only for biodiversity,
yes,
don't have a problem.
Proposal by Councillor Flaherty to accept planners' recommendation and seconded by Councillor Dowd. Our members, are we all in agreement? Take a nod of heads, check of heads, something. Yeah, I have consensus on that one. Thank you very much, members, and thank you, Roisin. Members, will move on to Appendix 4, which is application number LA 08 2024 0856 S54. It's for approval, and Kyle Elder, Senior Planning Officer, is to present a report on PowerPoint presentation. Kyle, if you just unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. This plan application is a Section 54 application which seeks to vary Condition 11 of Plan Approval LA 08-2021-0148-F, which was granted planning permission for 92 residential units at Jumford Meadow in Portadown. This plan application is required to go before the planning committee as it is seeking to vary a condition of a major plan application. Officers have taken it, members have read the report in full, and as such this is a synopsis only. Section 54 of the Planning Act Northern Ireland 2011 is a power that allows for an application to be made for planning permission for the development of land without complying with conditions subject to which a previous planning permission was granted. In considering an application made under Section 54, members must only consider the question of the conditions subject to which planning permission should be granted. Consequently, the scope of members is, in principle, more limited when dealing with a Section 54 application, although members are entitled to consider the circumstances that led to the previous original grant of plan permission. So condition 11 of the plan approval requires a 1.8 metre high solid wall is erected along the boundaries of the dwellings and site numbers 129 to 139. The applicant seeks to vary this condition so that a 1.8 metre wall is erected on the boundaries of site 129 and on site 130, with a 1.8 metre high acoustic close boarded fence erected along the boundaries of sites 130 to 139. Members will note that the site is in close proximity to a car body repairs workshop. A technical acoustic briefing note has been provided in support of the application, which concludes that the proposed alternative 1.8 metre high close boarded acoustic wooden fence proposed to replace the wall provides equal noise attenuation results. Environmental health have been consulted in this application and have no objections to the amended condition. Officers, therefore, in this instance, are content with the proposed variation of condition 11 and are content that its variation creates no conflict with the SPPS and policy QD1 of PPS 7. Members are advised that no letters of objection have been submitted regarding this plan application, although 3 non-committal letters were received and they have been considered. So overall, officers consider the proposal to meet the policy requirements of the SPPS and all other relevant planning policies, and on that basis, approval is recommended for the reasons outlined in the report and subject to the conditions suggested in the report. I'll just take you through just a very short presentation. Okay, so the site is in Jumford Meadow, just to the northeast of Portadown. The next slide then just shows the site location plan, with obviously the site outlined in red. The condition that we're considering mainly affects the eastern boundary and the northeastern corner of the site. Next slide then just shows the proposed site plan. So just for clarity, this plan isn't north facing. Next slide then just shows a close-up of the area of the site to which condition 11 related. So if we just start from the left-hand side, obviously we're within the orange polygon, but site 129, you can see the boundary shown in green. So that is where the wall will be erected. And you can just see in site 130, just between the garage and the dwelling, that a wall would also be erected in that location. To the rear of site 130 to 139, you can see the blue line, and that is where the acoustic fence is proposed, which is where the change in the condition applies. Just for members' information, then, if you look at site 129 and head left across the road, the car body workshop is to the rear of that dwelling. Next slide then shows just the elevations of the boundary treatments proposed within the application. Next slide is just a photograph. So this is site 129. So you can see that the wall is in early stages of construction along that site. And then the next photograph, you can again just see the wall, very early stages of construction, but the remaining dwellings there would, if members agree with the proposal, would have an acoustic fence erected to the rear of those dwellings. I'm happy to answer any questions that members may have in this one.
Thank you, Kyle. Really appreciate the work went in the report and presentation. I have a question from Vice Chair Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Kyle, for that presentation. I suppose I'm just looking at the proposed site layout plan zoomed in, Kyle, and you've got that the blue line, which is going to be the 1.8 metre high acoustic fence. Is that right? If that's right. And then you seem to have a wee hatched area, and then a sort of a red fence. Is that which is the 1.2 metre, and it's not acoustic. It's just a smaller fence. So, Chris, what will be in between that? Is that just going to be shrubbery or vegetation, or is there going to be anything else in there? Is that going to be path or anything? Just for a bit of clarity there, Kyle. Just to see what's in the middle of that buffer while it's acting as an extra buffer there too.
Yep. Yeah. So under the original approval, there was a landscaping plan approved, which again would be approved within this application. So within that, basically, buffer planting is proposed along that hatched area, and then there'd be like a picket fence then effectively just to enclose that. But yeah, that hatched area would be buffer planting.
Yeah. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. Councillor O'Dowd, please.
Sorry, just a quick question. If there was planting, sorry, put there, who would be maintaining that? Is it the owner of the houses, or is there a maintenance group? Where would that fall? Because we might have issues with that then further down the line.
Yeah, there is to be a maintenance company set up to manage the areas of open space within the development. So it's likely that it would be dealt with by them. It's an issue, to be honest, because it's not exactly within the scope of the condition I've varied. I would probably have to double check that, be absolutely certain on that point, to be absolutely honest with you, Councillor. But I'd imagine that would fall under the maintenance company to make sure they keep that.
Okay, Councillor O'Dowd, you like to come back in, would you, or are you content?
I hate this soon. It's just I know in development around Lurgan that people has come to me with issues regarding the same kind of thing, and everybody seems to be washing their hands off it. So it's just maybe a wee gripe that I have, because once that's done, nobody wants to take responsibility of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor O'Dowd. Members, no other signals to ask any questions. Councillor Flaherty.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. I'm going to be an annoyance here because this Councillor O'Dowd has just raised what I had thought in my own head, probably because there's significant work going on in my own house with regards to fencing and walls and hedges, and I can understand the premise of what she's saying. That would be that's actually my question. You put that length of a 1.8 meter high fence. There's a fence for so long. There's a wall started. Who looks after this at the end of it all? Because I know, again, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I'm really concerned that I don't know how this thing, how far I'm allowed to go. But I know, as a councillor for nearly 10 years in this area, I have dealt with so many cases of fences around developments, and I'm a Portadown councillor. I can name them even in Craigavon, where maybe a fence is blew down, or a piece has been damaged, or they're looking at a different gate, or whatever it might be, and nobody will take responsibility for it. And you either have a group of really responsible residents who step in because they just do. These maintenance companies, that's a different discussion altogether, actually, to be honest. So that's my concern here. So I'm new to this committee. I'm trying to get my head around all this Section 54 business. So just be clear, somebody be clear to me, the original plan, and again, apologies if I'm asking silly questions, maybe I should just be quiet, but there was the wall was the original, right? and now they've decided, no, we don't want to build a wall. So we're just going to put a fence up and then it'll be lit. And I read that it's slightly, that concerns me because I know that area very well. I live actually not so far away from it, to be fair. And it's getting very, very built up, and it's great to see about it's so much life about the place. And it's all lovely and sparkly new now, but it's not always going to be. It is my concern. And you're right across, you're also right across from the cemetery there, and all these different things go on. The towpaths are all there. You can walk all around. So I'm concerned about nailing down that ownership and maintenance issue. If I've put that the right way, and if I haven't, I hope you get the meaning of where I'm going. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Can I bring you back in to clarify some points around that? Right.
Yeah, so I was just checking the drawing from the original approval, which shows the area of maintained open space. So that is within the area of maintained open space. So that would fall under the remit of the management company who would be managing the open space. So it would be their responsibility from the plans that we've previously approved to maintain that space.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Flaherty, Councillor Dowd. Does that sort of answer your questions? I see no other hands up indicating to ask a question on this. Members, we'll move to debate stage. If you want to add your comments or have a discussion on it, the floor is open to yourselves. So just indicate if you'd like to speak. You, Councillor Lavery.
Yeah, I suppose I agree with Councillor Dowd and Councillor Flaherty. The application itself is all very well, good in line with policy and so on. But being reps for areas, we can see 20 years down the road when things go down, or when the trees that are planted that maybe aren't upkept because maybe the management company only deals with the green spaces in the middle of the development around the edges. Because I know that this is kind of on a boundary between maybe another field there, so it's maybe a bit more difficult to access. So you can, whoever's in our seats in 20 years' time is going to maybe getting a phone call or two from residents about trying to get these trees cut back. But one thing we can do is I can quote myself and quote Councillor Dowd and quote Councillor Flaherty and so on. That'll be the management company who has responsibility to maintain these bushes. So after the application, I think it's a very, it's a valid application, and as it's noted, we can only deal with the conditions here rather than some of these wider matters. But these wider matters, I suppose, will be contacted a lot their constituents, and it's not definitely things when these type of applications come forward in the outline stage or the full stage, that very much conditions are placed to make sure all those various bits of shrubbery is maintained and is there, so that residents can have a fallback position where they can take plan enforcement action and all the rest to get those over the line. But as to the placement of the wall, the fence, it seems all within order to nature.
Yeah, it certainly does. Thank you, Councillor Lavery. Members have no other indications to speak on this. As this is a decision item, so we'll need a proposal from members whether to go with the planner's recommendation or an alternative proposal. So members will need a proposal for this application.
Happy to propose, Chair.
Yeah, proposed by Councillor Lavery. Do I have a seconder there? Seconded by Alderman Kennedy. Members, are we content? Can I get nods or yes? We're in agreement. Thank you very much, members. Thank you, Kyle, for that presentation and report. Much appreciated. Members, move on to Appendix 5, which is application number LA08 2024 0986A. And it is an application brought by Armagh City, Banbridge and Craigavon Borough Council, and it is for approval. And Liam McCrum is the Senior Planning Officer, is going to present a report and PowerPoint presentation. So Liam, if you'll unmute yourself, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, Liam.
Okay. This application seeks planning permission for the consent to erect 9 signs within the curtilage of the F.E. McWilliam Gallery. The application site is located within the settlement limit of Banbridge as defined in the area plan. The local area plan has no specific policies that deal with the control of advertisements, therefore the application will be assessed against the regional prevailing planning policy. The SPPS, therefore, and PPS 17 provide the policy context for analysis of this application. This application involves the erection of 1 number totem sign, 3 number static facade signs, and 3 number ground mounted signs. Policy 81 of PPS 17 states that consent for the display of advertisements will be granted provided the scheme A respects amenity when assessed in the context of the general characteristics of the locality, and B does not prejudice public safety. In assessing the impact of the advertisement signs on matters of amenity, Policy 81 goes on to identify a number of matters and sub-tests which the proposed development must be assessed against. As set out in the body of the officer's report, officers have assessed each of these sub-test criteria A to G and found the proposals to be compliant in each case. In terms of the impact of public safety, the level of illumination proposed involves the repositioning of an existing sign only. Officers are content that the repositioning of this sign will not be so distracting, such as to cause or create public safety hazard to any person within the immediate vicinity of the said gallery. DFA Roads, the competent authority in relation to matters of road safety, have been consulted and offered no objection. As a result, officers are content that proposed external signage will cause no detrimental impact on road safety. Officers are content that the proposed externally illuminated signs are acceptable and fully comply with the SPPS and 81 of PPS 17, and therefore the application is recommended for approval. There have been no third-party representations or consultee objections. Approval is recommended. If we want to take a wee run through our PowerPoint. Next slide, please. Yep, so if you don't know the F.E. McWilliam Gallery, it's an island there between the Newry Road and the Banbridge bypass, just beside the outlet. This is our site location plan with the curtilage of the site outlined in red. This is our site plan. This is just the plans of the virtual types of signage that are to be erected on the facade and as the standalone signs. This gives you the sort of existing signage that's in situ and the repositioning. And this is the proposed facade signs and their location. And that gives you an indication of the totem sign and the small 1 metre high directional signs within the context of the site. And that's just an aerial image of the site, just for clarification purposes. Just photographs of the existing signage, just on your left-hand side there. And some photographs of the existing signs that's to be replaced. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Liam, for the report and the presentation. Councillor O'Dowd, do you have a question?
It was just more of a comment. Sorry. If memory serves me right, I think some of F.E. Williams' signs had been taken down at one stage recently. I don't know if it was DFA or who took them down. So I think this would be perfect to highlight that F.E. Williams is actually there. That was the only comment I wanted to make.
Thank you, Councillor O'Dowd. Sir, do you have a question or?
Yeah, well, funny, if I can actually answer the one for Councillor O'Dowd. It was discussed at the Economic Committee last month. Apparently DFA, Council paid DFA to put up, directional signage advertising F.E. McWilliam a number of years ago, I understand. Alderman Bird was saying, but then they took them down and replaced them with ones, instead of advertising F.E. McWilliam, advertising Game of Thrones. Without notifying council, even though council apparently paid for them signs, from what Alderman Byrne said. And DFA apparently told no, we can't be changing their signs back. But now they're saying yes, we will change them back. council pay for them. So that tends to be, so that's in dispute at the minute, councillor Dow, from what I understand, but I think it was discussed at the economic committee there last month. So I think the saga on that one continues. But I just a wee query, Liam, I know this site, we had a plan application earlier in the year, to redevelop this site or extend it and so on. I think using funds, from the National Lottery or so on. Are these signs, in keeping with the whole new layout that's going to happen as part of that new development, which I think is due to start early next year at some stage? We're not putting this stuff in and then having to take it down in a couple of months' time, If there's any clarity on that, Liam?
Yep, Councillor Lally, no, it's fully cognizant of the extension that was granted approval. So actually one of the proposed signs is to be erected on the extended approval that was brought before committee, was it this time last year or the year before? So yeah, no, it's fully cognizant of the extension that was previously approved.
Thanks, Liam.
Thank you, Liam. Members have no other indications of questions to the planner on this here, so we move to debate stage. So if you want to add your comments on this application, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in. Yes, it's probably sort of in the same vein as the signage that Councillor O'Dowd raised. The footfall that's now going through the boulevard, I think we need to be maximising on that. And I know Quails obviously has a franchise for the restaurant in there, and we need to get any sort of signage up to speed. Any signage, I know this is within the cartilage of the centre itself, but we really need to get tapping into that footfall that's going through the boulevard and getting our facilities used, not just the restaurants in the boulevard itself. So any signage is more than welcome. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Chair. And just to sort of echo Councillor Wilson's comments, I think this application is very much welcome. There's going to be big money spent on the FE McWilliams from the Levelling Up Fund, and it will be a great facility with a huge amount of additional floor space going forward, and it'll increase the footfall, which is already quite good from the figures that we've been provided with by the tourism team. So, very, very much welcome this. And with these signs being on our own property in the FE McWilliams, I don't think we need to worry about road service nicking them going forward. So hopefully they'll stay in place. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. Yeah, members have no other lights on or comments. We'll move to decision stage. Do we have any proposals from members? Councillor O'Dowd, your light was first on. Councillor O'Dowd, you're on mute.
I'm happy to propose this. I think it's a great addition. So do.
Thank you, Councillor O'Dowd. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to second Councillor O'Dowd's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Members, we have a proposal on the table from Councillor O'Dowd to accept the officer's recommendation. Councillor Wilson seconded. Are we all in agreement? Nod your heads. Agreement? Yeah. Thank you very much. Members, move on to Appendix 6, which is application LA 08 2024 110F. Again, it's an application by Armagh City, Banbridge, Craigavon Borough Council. It is up for approval. Nicola Carini, the Senior Planning Officers, to present a report and PowerPoint presentation. Also, Rosemary Hughes, Regeneration Officer, is also in attendance for clarification purposes only. So I'll hand over to Nicola if you want to unmute yourself and start with your presentation. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes. This application seeks planning permission for the erection of a Northern Ireland Centennial Stone in Marylin. The stone is to be polished granite and to be placed in a public green area at the junction of the Steps Road and New Forge Road in the town, the opposite side of the road from Marylin Parish Church. The application is being presented to committee as the council is the applicant. Officers have assessed the proposal against the development plan and all relevant planning policies as set out in the report and are of the view the proposal is acceptable in principle. The impact of the proposed centennial stone on townscape amenity and built heritage interests has been fully assessed. No third-party representations have been received, and officers are recommending that permission is granted. And I'll just go through the presentation. Next slide. Yep, as you can see, just it's in Marilyn. Next slide, please. This is an aerial context then just at the corner of the Steps Road with New Forge Road. Next slide, please. The site location plan. Next slide, please. Just the proposed layout, just a zoomed in version of the previous plan. Next slide, please. This is just a photo illustration of the proposal, just to be sitting in a flower bed. Next slide, please. This is the proposal itself. Next slide, please. Just a photograph of the location. I think that concludes my presentation. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Nicola, for the report and presentation. Members, have we any questions in relation to this application? No indications of any questions in relation to this. Move to the debate stage. Any comments?
No comment really, but this must be near the last in the line of these, I think, isn't it?
Rosemary, just can you confirm how many more applications of these to come through? Do you know?
Yes, there'll be one more application coming through for Portadown. We're still finalising that site.
Yeah. No. Thank you, Rosemary. Really appreciate that. Yeah, no, we've had a good run of these ones coming through, and it's just good to get them through the processes. Members, we have a recommendation on in front of us for approval. Do I have any proposals from the floor in relation to that? Councillor Victory.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, happy with the application and happy to propose that we grant permission for this to go ahead. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Victory and Alderman Kennedy.
I'm just happy to second the recommendation.
And seconded by Alderman Kennedy. Members, are we all in agreement in relation to this? Any contraries? Yes, I assume we're all in agreement. I can't see anybody in the top row there, so I assume we're in agreement. Okay, members, I think that's us, isn't it? Yep. Members, I just want to, before we go, want to thank all the staff here today. They have been pulled from pillar to post to get this meeting up and running. They've been working against all odds. So I just want to pass on my thanks to member services for all our work this morning, to the IT guys for setting this up and making sure that this meeting has gone ahead as smoothly as we could have. And to thank our planning team and our building control team, and also our legal advisors beside me. So, the Councillor Dowd, you're looking to come in?
Just one thing, I just want to thank you all, and I want to wish you a happy Christmas, because I don't think we have another planning meeting before Christmas, which is this day, 3 weeks. So enjoy every minute, and I'll see you all in January.
Merry Christmas, Councillor Dowd.
Well, Merry Christmas, Councillor Dowd, and Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you have a good one, and we'll see you all in the new year. All being well. So, all the best, guys. And can I check if we are not live anymore? Are we off? Let me just see. Are we off? Are we off? Are we off?
It's finished.
Yeah.
Answer.